Hi everyone, after reading Frederick Douglass' speech, I understand why it's still considered one of the greatest speeches in American history. The strongest example of pathos for me was when Douglas talked about enslaved people hearing Americans celebrate freedom while they themselves had no freedom at all. He described the pain, injustice, and hypocrisy of that situation in a very emotional way. While I was reading it, I could feel his frustration and anger. It did not sound like a history lesson. It sounded like a real person speaking from the heart about something that deeply affected millions of lives. For Logos, what stood out to me was how we used facts and reasoning instead of only emotions. One example was when he explained that enslaved people were punished under the law, which already proved they were responsible human beings. His argument was basically if society holds someone accountable for their actions, then society already recognizes that person as a human being. I thought that was a very powerful logical argument because it's simple, direct, and difficult to deny. For ethos, I think Douglas established credibility through his own experience and moral authority. He was not speaking as an outside observer, he understood the reality of slavery and spoke with confidence, knowledge, and conviction. As I listened to his words, I felt that he truly believed everything he was saying. That made him trustworthy and gave his message even more power. What I found most interesting is that this speech was delivered more than 170 years ago, but it still feels relevant today. Sometimes I think powerful communication is about using big words or sounding impressive. This speech reminded me that the most powerful communication comes from speaking honestly about something that matters. One thing I connected with personal was the idea that words can create real change. In this class, we have talked a lot about communication, can influence academic, professional, social, and political realities. Frederick Douglass is a perfect example of that. He combined emotion, logic, and credibility in a way that made people think differently. As someone who plans to become a nurse, I realize more and more that communication is not just talking. Communication can educate people, motivate people, and sometimes even change lives. That's probably my biggest takeaway from this speech. Thank you.